All right, day 65. Today, we're tackling a really interesting problem. How do you teach a machine to understand human emotion just from reading text? We're diving into something called sentiment analysis. So picture this. You're working at a company that's growing fast. Every day, you get flooded with feedback. Thousands of tweets, hundreds of product reviews, a constant stream of support chats. It's a lot. And you know there's gold in there, right? You know people are telling you what they love, what they hate, and what's broken. But how can any team possibly read all of it? Well, that's where sentiment analysis comes in. It's a way to automatically figure out the emotional tone of a piece of text. By the end of this, you'll get exactly how we can turn all that unstructured chatter into a clear signal. Positive, negative, or just neutral.
Okay, let's start with the core idea. The best way to think about sentiment analysis is that it's trying to teach a computer a very human skill, how to read the room. Except here, the room is the entire internet.
Here's a simple analogy I like. It's like a digital thermometer for text. Instead of measuring heat, it measures the emotional temperature of the words. Is this review glowing? Is this tweet angry? Or is this article just stating facts? And that's the problem it was built to solve. All that text data from emails, social media, and surveys, it's basically just noise until you give it some structure. Sentiment analysis is what creates that structure. It turns a sea of opinions into something you can actually measure and track. The basic process is pretty straightforward. You start with some raw text, you feed it into an analysis engine, and out comes a clean, simple label, positive, negative, or neutral. It's a simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful when you do it at scale. And the results often look something like this. You can suddenly see, at a glance, that most of the conversation around your new feature is positive. You have a clear high-level signal telling you how people are feeling, and that's an insight you can actually use to make decisions. So how does the engine actually do that? How does it figure out the sentiment? Let's pop the hood and look at the two main ways this gets done. The two main approaches are rule-based systems and machine learning systems. They both want to get to the same answer, but they take very different paths to get there. The rule-based approach is like a checklist. It uses a dictionary of words where each word has a pre-assigned score. It's fast, it's simple, but it's also pretty rigid. The machine learning approach is more like an apprentice. It learns to spot sentiment by looking at thousands of examples we've already labeled for it. This makes it way more flexible and accurate, but it does take some upfront training.
And here's what that simple rule-based system looks like in practice. You literally just make lists. Words like amazing or fast get positive points. Words like slow or broken get negative points. The system just adds up the scores in a sentence to get a final verdict. It's simple, but for many cases, it works surprisingly well.
Okay, so this isn't just an academic exercise. Where does this technology actually show up in the real world? Well, you see it everywhere. Companies use it for brand monitoring, to get a real-time pulse on how people feel about them online. Customer support teams use it to automatically find the angriest emails and handle them first. And market researchers use it to sift through thousands of product reviews to find out what people actually care about. So imagine you just launched a new product. Instead of having someone scroll through Twitter all day, you get an automatic alert like this. This tells you there's a problem, and you can jump on it immediately. That's the real power here, turning a potential crisis into a chance to respond and fix things fast. Of course, this is not a perfectly solved problem. Human language is messy, and there are some really interesting challenges that make sentiment analysis a hard puzzle to solve. Sarcasm is a perfect example. A simple model sees the word great and thinks, hey, this is positive. It completely misses the context. A human knows this is a complaint, but the machine is fooled by the positive word. Negation is another classic tripwire. The sentence has the word difficult, which is negative, but the phrase I wouldn't say flips the meaning entirely. This is a subtle point, but it's exactly the kind of nuance that makes sentiment analysis so tricky. So, to wrap it all up, sentiment analysis is the tool we use to turn that messy, unstructured river of human opinion into a clean, measurable signal we can actually act on. And that's the real idea to hold on to. This isn't just about sorting words into buckets. It's about understanding the feeling behind the words. The question to ask is, how can you use that feeling to make better, more responsive decisions?